What is going on, YouTubers? Nicked Out Vapor back here for another review for you today. And today we're going to be taking a look at a collaboration project from another reviewer. Vandy Vape decided to collaborate with Vaping with Twisted 420. Now, if you don't know Richard and you've never watched any of his videos, make sure you go over to his channel. Like I said before, it's called Vaping with Twisted 420. Look him up on YouTube. Check out some of his videos. He does a damn good job with all of his edits. He has two channels. If you're into gaming, I believe he has somewhat of a gaming streaming channel as well. So make sure you check his videos out because he does a damn good job with all of them. Anyways, without further ado, let's take a look at this RDA that he collaborated with Vandy Vape. It's called the Mutant RDA. And this is a little bit different of an RDA from everything that we've seen as of late. It's got all kinds of different airflow options. It's got vertical coils in it, and it's got a damn cool squonking feature in it as well. Without further ado though, let's go ahead and have a vape off of this thing. I got it sitting on top of the topside dual, Mutant RDA, and this is the matte black version. Camera doesn't want to focus. It. Let's have a vape. Alrighty guys, and here we are for the packaging for the Mutant RDA. Very nice, very elegant looking, all black with gold lettering. Pretty cool little design for their boxing for this RDA. Do a freeze frame there for you if you want to read that. On the inside, once again, it is going to be very clean, very elegant, black and gold the whole way through. Now down inside of the packaging, I already have everything out here on the desk. You're going to get a QC card from Vandy Vape. You also get a bag of goodies. What's going to include is 2 Allen keys, one for the 510 and one for the grub screws that go into your posts, your RDA posts. You're going to get some extra O-rings. You're going to get a 510 drip tip adapter, and you're going to get some flathead grub screws in case you don't want to use the Allen key size ones. You're going to get a Vandy Vape user's manual for the RDA itself, and then you're also going to get the RDA itself. I have it all torn apart here. We're going to take a look at each individual piece because there is a lot to go over. It's going to say Mutant RDA at the top. Down here at the bottom it's going to have VIN numbers, and then it's going to say manufactured by Vandy Vape. Over here on this side, I am guessing that's Twisted's logo. As you can see, there's a T at the top, and then it says 420 underneath of it. I have the squonk pin installed. I'm not sure if it comes pre-installed. I cannot remember. So you'll either have to install the squonk pin, or if you want to drip on it, you have to install the solid pin. I cannot remember which way it comes, to be honest with you guys. Now on the top, as you can see, a little bit different configuration of what we're used to seeing lately with your top posts. So here in the middle is going to be your squonk pin. When you squonk, it's going to come out of this top post and then flow down the side of the post. So pretty unique design. We've seen this on a couple RDAs already, but there are also holes down at the bottom of the squonk pin, so it will suck juice back down through the bottom. Now, as far as your coil placement goes, each coil is just going to sit vertically, so it's going to go up and down right here. And you're just going to drop the leads right down inside of each side. So a pretty cool, unique design. We'll do a full build on this so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But you get dual O-rings down here on the bottom side of the RDA, so you shouldn't have any kind of problems with it leaking. And then as you can see right along the edge right here, you're going to get that locking mechanism, which we'll go over that with the middle section of the RDA, which we will get into right now. Now, pretty cool little design. They have 4 different airflow options all the way around this center cap of the RDA. As you can see, it says Mutant on one side, and once again you're going to have 2 O-rings in between of the airflows. Down inside you're going to see each one of those airflows has that locking mechanism right there. So when you place it down onto your deck, it's going to lock into place, and you're not going to be able to rotate it. It's going to stick with whatever airflow you choose. So one of the biggest things that I have to gripe about is I love the way they did this locking system, but I just wish they would have notched it out, maybe, you know, a millimeter on each side on each one of these. That way, if you close down, say you close down these holes right here, you could slide it over just a little bit just to recenter your airflow to the center of the coil. And I think they could have done that. I think that there's enough material there that they could have went in between each one and made those locking mechanisms a little bit bigger. But all in all, it does work good. And the airflow actually isn't too bad. It's kind of the airflow that I usually like. It's kind of a restricted hit. Now, if you use something like this right here, I feel like it's pretty wide open. The honeycomb airflow seemed to be more wide open than this pattern right here, which this is the one that I like the most. But anyways, that is the center section of the RDA. Now get into the top cap. As you can see, you got some knurling style look right here, and then it's got this kind of like upbeat right here. And I tell you what, I really like this right here, and the reason being behind that is your drip tip sits flush right here at the top, and your lips don't really go down onto this portion. So it doesn't get too damn hot, and that is one thing that I've noticed about this RDA. It stays pretty cool, and I really can't stand when some of these RDAs, your lips go down onto the RDA itself and it's just blazing hot. With this, I've seemed to notice that this reduces the heat right here, this little raise right here. So I think they did a good job with that. I don't know if it was intended for that, but the drip tip on top does look really nice. One thing that I will state is you only do get one drip tip with this. Now, it is an 810 goon style drip tip, so you'll be able to use whatever you want to inside of here. And it does got that rubber O-ring in there, so you'll have no problems. I can fit any of my 810s on here. Now, onto the side of this top portion, you got this big square gap right here, and that is to suit for your airflow like so. So whatever airflow you decide to choose, you would just put it into that square area right there, and it works out perfectly. I just think that this RDA looks fantastic when it's all put together, and I think that it's a pretty damn good vape as well. But let's go ahead and throw a build into this, and then we will head back up on top and we'll talk about it a little bit more. Alrighty guys, I got the Mutant RDA sitting on top of the topside dual. Let's go ahead and throw a build in this real quick just to show you how easy it is to build and wick this. Now, one thing that I do want to go ahead and throw out there to you guys is there are two big problems with this RDA in my opinion. And it may be a big problem to me, maybe not to some other people out there, but one thing that I will mention, and all you got to do is, like you seen on camera, you just take your coil and just simply drop your leads right down into those slots, center your coil with the squonk pin if you do have it installed, and then you're just going to tighten your grub screws on each side. Now, like what I was trying to say though, two of the biggest problems that I see with this RDA is the fact that a lot of newer vapors, if they are looking into getting an RDA that is simple to build on like this one, the thing that I see wrong with this is if you want to buy pre-made coils, they're going to have a hard time finding a pre-made coil that is wrapped counterclockwise. Most of your coils are wrapped clockwise, your pre-made coils, so that kind of is going to force you to wrap your own coils, which isn't a huge deal to me because I don't mind doing it. I just bought a 25-foot roll of some Clapton fused 4 times. You know, I mean, I don't have a problem doing it, but somebody that is a newer vapor, they may think that that is a huge con and it may push people away from this. Now, another thing that I think may be a con to some people and this to me is more of a con than the coil thing, is the fact that I have been so accustomed to using a shoelace style cotton anymore that it's kind of difficult to use these anglets or shoelace cottons, whatever you want to call them, and place them into the coils. Now I'll show you a trick to be able to use this style coil or this style cotton and get it into the coil, but it would probably be a lot easier just to take your standard cotton, just roll it up and stick it down on each side, and then get a pair of tweezers or whatever the case might be and pull it from the bottom side of the coil. So that would probably be your easiest bet, but I'll show you another easy way to use the anglet cottons, and you can kind of get around the pain in the ass part of the shoestring going right to the bottom of the coil. So like you've seen, I just dropped it right down into the build deck, tightened up the screws, and then all you got to do is just snip your leads. Make sure you snip them as flush as possible on each side. Now that we have one side done, let me go ahead and grab this coil and drop it into this side. Like I said, the biggest thing is once you have it in there, you want to just make sure it's lined up with the squonk pin if you have it installed, or just line it up vertically. Now it's not very centered. And that is another thing right there. Let me show you guys something, and I don't know if it's like this on all of their RDAs, but watch when I go to tighten this. See how that post moves? I don't know about that. It's a little weird in my opinion. But now that I have that coil in place, let's go ahead and snip this wire. And it is very important with what I'm going to show you to get that wire as flush as possible. So there, as you can see, both coils are installed. Now all I will do is take a coiling rod or a screwdriver or something and pull these coils out just a tiny bit, just to get it away from that squonk pin a little bit, and we can work our cotton around that squonk pin at that time. Now that you have your coils in place, one thing that I recommend you doing is burning your coils, getting them burning evenly. Alright, so now that you got your coils glowing evenly, you got them in place to where you want them. Like I said, you just want to pull them away from that squonk pin a little bit on each side. Now here is one trick that you can do to still use your shoelace cottons. You can burn your coils, get all the hot spots out of them, either let them cool, or you could stick them under some cold water and it'll cool them off automatically. And then what you could do is take each one of your leads out after that you've already got all the hot spots out. Like I said, it's very easy to pull that coil back out. Now all I do is just simply take this coil and throw your shoestring cotton right into the center of it, and then bring your RDA back over and place it back into place. Now, like I said earlier, one thing that is very important is to cut your leads right to the edge of each of your posts. And the reason I say that is now that you can tell if they are right at the edge of that post, since all that cotton's in the way, you really can't see if it's centered. But if you did like I said and cut it right at that edge of that post, you will be able to tell if your coil is in the perfect position. So all you want to do is just do the same thing on the other side, and like you could see, it's very easy to work with that shoelace cotton now. So let's go ahead and snip this real quick. Now the way that I recommend cutting this cotton is just take your scissors, lay it flat right over across that squonk hole, or just lay it flat right over top of your top posts, and just simply snip right there even with that squonk post. On the bottom side, all you're going to do is just leave some length. I usually cut it pretty long, that way I got some cotton sitting in the bottom side and it can hold some juice down inside of there. Just take a flathead screwdriver or whatever you want to use and place that cotton down inside of there like so. And then all we're going to do is the same exact thing on the other side. Like I said, just unscrew each side of your top post, pull that coil back out, and you will be able to use your shoelace cotton threads. So there you have it. That's what it should look like, all wicked up. In my opinion, this is a very easy and suitable way to wick and build coils on this Mutant RDA. Let's go ahead and throw some juice on it. We'll show you some squonking action, and then we'll take it back up on top and talk about this thing just a little bit more here with the Vandy Vape Mutant RDA. Alright, so let's go ahead and throw some juice on top of the wicks here. I'm using some Taylor House Strawberry Crunch. This is a 3 milligrams, so there is your warning. It does contain nicotine. It is a chemical. You know, it's an addictive chemical, blah, blah, blah. Alright guys, I did go a little juice heavy, had to clean up the mod a little bit, but once you get some juice down on side of there, what I recommend doing is taking a flathead screwdriver, anything that is going to make you be able to form your cotton, and all I do is just take some cotton and kind of like build a wall right there at the edge of that squonk hole. And it seems to work pretty good. I'll show you some action here in 1 second. So once you got that cotton sitting right up against that hole, let's go ahead and squonker, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So as you can see, the juice just kind of pulls up on both sides of that cotton, and then it's just going to run straight down into your bottom wicks as well. Works really good. The flavor's really good. Now you could also run a piece of cotton the whole way across the top of this, but I think that it kind of cuts down on some of the flavor that I was getting. I started wicking it this way and I haven't went back. So anyways guys, let's go ahead and throw the top cap on here. We'll take it back up top, we'll vape on it, and we'll talk about it just a little bit more on the top side with the Mutant RDA. And we are back guys, back up on top here with the Mutant RDA. I just think this thing looks awesome sitting on top of the topside dual. I really like the looks of this RDA. But anyways, I decided that I'm going to change things up on the way that I'm doing my reviews. Before I was just doing pros, cons, giving you some thoughts about what I think about the RDA. And, you know, it seems like a lot of reviewers are doing the same thing. So I'm going to give 5 topics to this RDA. And we're going to talk about, you know, the bonuses and the flaws to each one of those topics. So first topic is going to be the building and wicking on this RDA itself. As far as I'm concerned, it is super easy to build on this RDA as long as you wrap your own coils. Like I said in the up close and personal, you have to wrap them counterclockwise, and a lot of your pre-made coils out there by a lot of your, coil manufacturers are pre-wrapping them in a clockwise manner. So I think that that could be a con to some of you people that like to buy pre-builts. But for me, it's not a con because I wrap my own coils anyways. Even if it's buying your own wire, a 25-foot spool of wire and wrapping it, it's still wrapping your own coils. As far as wicking on this thing, it can be kind of a pain in the ass, somewhat. The first time I wicked this thing, I tried cutting the shoelace cotton, just the little plastic piece down, and then grabbing it by the tweezers. And then I thought, why am I doing this? Why am I struggling with this when, I showed you guys the way that I've been doing it recently, and it just made it so much easier. Take the coil out, make sure your coils are actually cut right at the edges of your post section. That way when you put it back in after you insert your cotton, you know exactly where the center of that coil is going to be, even though you got all that cotton in your way. So I think that there's ways around of making the wicking easier. Do I think that it adds one more step? Yeah, absolutely. But do I think it's a deal breaker? No, not at all. I think that this thing vapes very well, and that's going to bring us into our next topic, which is going to be flavor. And while do I think that this is a flavor machine, I think that the flavor is pretty damn good. But do I think it's the best on the market? No, not at all. And do I think that it's because it's vertical? I think that has some of the effects. I think that you do get a more flavorful vape off of a horizontal coil than a vertical coil. But I don't think it's like dramatic amount. The flavor on this is not bad by any means at all. The flavor is still really good. And if you like the build deck on here, if you're intrigued by the build deck and the ease of building on it, then there is no reason not to purchase this thing. I think that it's still a good RDA, and I don't think you lose out on that much flavor to defer you away from purchasing this RDA. So on to the next topic, and that is going to be fit and finish of the RDA. In my opinion, I just think that this thing looks absolutely amazing as far as the finish goes. Very clean. The airflow options on it are very nice. The O-ring tolerances are very nice. And I just think it's an all-around great fit and finish RDA. Vandy Vape always seems to have really good machining, and I just think that they did a great job with this RDA. The only thing that I have to bitch about as far as the fit and finish is you seen when I was kind of twisting on tightening down on that coil, how the one post was moving in. I think that was the positive post was moving in. I think that that could be a huge flaw, and I don't know about that. I mean, you guys really got to make sure that that post doesn't go and touch your squonk pin. It could be a bad thing if it did get stuck in that position, but other than that, I think the fit and finish is great. And the final topic is going to be, who is this RDA for? And I think it really is for those people that don't mind wrapping their own coils. If you are a person that only likes to buy pre-built coils and you don't want to hassle with wrapping the coils the other way, then I wouldn't purchase this RDA if you just buy pre-built coils. If you're a hobbyist and you don't think you would mind wrapping coils, then this thing is very easy to build on. It has great flavor. It has a very cool look to it, and it is a great cause to support another reviewer out there. His channel is already pretty big, but like I said, make sure you go check out his content, because it is very good. His editing is amazing. I wish I had half the skills he does at editing videos, but he's been doing this a whole hell of a lot longer than I have. And that is about all I have for you today, guys. This was the Mutant RDA by Vandy Vape and Vaping with Twisted 420. Make sure you guys throw a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think of this RDA. And we will see you next time here on the channel. Once again, Nicked Out Vapor. We'll see you later. Oh yeah, and Twisted, if you see this, or if anybody out there sees this video, and you have one of those blue and pink drip tips available somewhere, let me know, because I really want one of those, and I really don't want to buy just the rainbow edition just because I want that tip so bad. So if anybody sees this and they know a way that I can get my hands on just that tip, hit me up either in the comment section or on Instagram. It's nicked_out_vapor. See you guys later.